Hello, everyone. It's the Dread Pirate once again. All right. One more video before I disappear for another week. There's something we got to talk about here. So, as you all may know, about 1,000 years ago, or give or take 2 months or so, I reviewed a favorite low-budget horror movie of mine known as Killer Killer. Well, as of a couple days ago, the director of Killer Killer, Pat Higgins, commented on the video. He liked the review, and not only that, he promoted my video on his Twitter account and on his website. So I just want to give a shout out to Pat Higgins. Thank you again, sir. I'm glad you enjoyed the review. And thanks for the recommendation of your films. I figured I'd give you a shout out here. You've already promoted me. I'm going to do you one more myself and promote you and Jinx Media right here as well. So as he pointed out in the comments, the first 4 movies of his can be found on Amazon Prime. They are Trash House, Killer Killer, the Hell Bride, and The Devil's Music, and they're all available there. Go check them out. I did. I've now seen every movie you've made, sir, with the exception of The House on the Witchpit, which I'm looking forward to checking out. I just haven't been able to find it yet. Pat Higgins. Pat Higgins is widely regarded as one of the most promising horror filmmakers to come out of the UK. He loves his low-budget horror films, and after having watched his films, I think these movies are really, really great. And I want to do a quick review of the movies I saw that he did. I might go into more detail later on, at some point, more in detailed analysis, but basically this is just, Pat, this is for you. Again, thanks for reaching out to me, sir, and just want to give you a little bit of feedback on your movies. Overall, I really like your films, man. I think they're really, really great. And I want to go into if you like, maybe at some point in time I'll go into a little more fuller reviews later on. I don't want to give too much away, but quick synopsis of them and what people can expect. Okay, so I already reviewed Killer Killer. I love Killer Killer. It's how I found you. So, thumbs up there. We're done. Trash House. Okay, so I think Trash House was your first movie. Trash House, naturally, it seemed to have the most weaknesses in it, so I want to get some of the negatives out of the way real quick. The worst thing about Trash House is the special effects. So I gotta be honest, they're very low budget, kind of obvious CGI and blood effects and whatnot. It seems like what's going on in Trash House is the imagination and the story you had required just resources that you didn't have available, and so as a result, the effects are very, very obvious. But you guys went ahead and did it anyway. It's like, fuck it, man. We're gonna do this movie. We're gonna have a bunch of monsters. We're gonna have some violence. We're gonna have like a CGI skinless monster, and we're gonna do it because that's what the script calls for. And it may not look the best, but we're gonna go ahead and do it, which I commend. And again, I don't have the highest expectations. In all honesty, it's like, again, we're dealing with low budget horror here. You work with what you got. You don't always have like $1 billion Hollywood budget backing you up. So you get some Caro syrup and you make it happen. So I commend that. And also, I know all about not having the freaking resources. I had like an argument with Oxenius like a couple hours ago about how, once again, my audio quality on my videos suck, which they do. So it's cool. So I commend that. But it's just, pointing it out. It's like, yeah, it's definitely the weakest aspect of it. However, I feel like what helps the movie stand out is, and I think the greatest strength of the movie, honestly, is the writing and the acting. The concept is a very, very interesting science fiction concept that, of course, is the perfect engine to create these kind of sort of Matrix scenarios, essentially giving people unlimited power or whatever their greatest dreams would be, but with kind of set limitations. And a great excuse for us to throw a bunch of monsters around, like, killer clowns, zombies, and all sorts of critters and things like that. I feel like the writing in Trash House is excellent and really makes it stand out, as well as the acting. At this point now, I've become more familiar with a lot of your regulars, who I want to also promote in this video as well. And in particular, I took notice of Richard Collins, who was the really crazy, like, sex pervert character in Killer Killer, and I recognized him here as, like, the main villain of this movie, and it's just, I want to just shout out to Richard Collins. Richard Collins is, like, is excellent in pretty much everything I've seen him in terms of your movies, especially this movie. He stands out really well as a great psychopath, as just a deeply disturbed person, given the ability to have godlike power, and he really stands out here. Whereas he was more sympathetic in Killer Killer, even though he was a crazy sex pervert character. He's just remarkable as your villain in Trash House. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about Hellbride. So Hellbride, I made a comment that some of your Killer Killer feels it's got like that kind of British humor, Shaun of the Dead quality, which is one of the things I liked in Killer Killer. And I'm noticing that throughout a lot of your movies, it's like, yeah, you definitely have you do horror comedy very, very well. And that stands out the best in Hellbride. Hellbride works very, very well as a horror comedy. There's a lot of moments where it feels like we're like I love the two security guard guys who we had in Trash House coming back and just screwing with the hero in Hellbride. It works very, very well as a horror comedy. And on at this point, like from this point onward, I notice a general progression as your production quality gets better and better as time goes on. It's like as time goes on, a lot of the limitations you had in Trash House in terms of special effects go away, and everything looks great. Particular note, Eleanor James was excellent as the titular Hellbride. I really like the sort of plague doctor monster that's in there as well. And in particular of note, I wanted to basically give a shout out to James Cavan, who I noticed was he stood out to me in Killer Killer as the doctor who was making a statement and replacing homeless people's organs with mechanical parts and machine parts and things like that. I loved him in there, and I thought he was really great in Hellbride as a very as a much more sympathetic character, as just kind of a dad who unfortunately seems to have bad underworld connections. I think he's really great in the movie. And unfortunately, I mean, I'm sad to hear that sadly he's passed away. I wish I'd been able to see him in more, but thanks to you, I've seen him in two of your films, and I've been enriched by seeing him, and it was really cool. So again, Hellbride's fun. It kind of the monster's cool. There's some good action and kind of like the plot gets crazy as you've got this supernatural element that's basically making things go tips up, and then at the same time there's these more mundane human like kind of real world problems that are kind of making the situation worse. And it all just kind of goes awry. It does feel like, though, for a minute that we forgot about the monster, which kind of reminds me of Len Kavizinski's second film. I'm forgetting the title. I think it's called Wendigo Blood Curse or something like that. It's his second movie. It's like that movie, like Len Kavizinski. It's like he's the whole point is the bad guy's a Wendigo, and then we just forget about the Wendigo, and it becomes a martial arts film with criminals. And it's just like, oh yeah, wasn't there a Wendigo in this movie? Whatever. But it comes around full circle. The Hellbride does come back, and she's a nice, scary monster, so I enjoyed her. You made a comment. You commented in the comment section of my Killer Killer review that the movie you're most proud of is The Devil's Music, and I 100% agree, sir. I think Devil's Music is excellent. It is a masterpiece. It's a beautiful, slow build of this elaborate story that just gets crazier and crazier and more intense as things go along. You also, you've really got a lot of great, you got a bunch of really great performances out of your actors. Cy Hentley, one of the regulars I've seen in all your movies, he's great in everything. I think Cy Hentley was excellent in. He was excellent in Killer Killer as the goth guy, the more sympathetic character. It's great to see him take charge as the concerned agent who's watching all these things dissolve. He has just remarkable charisma. He's very good in this movie. Of note in particular, I really loved Jess Louisa Flynn in this movie. I thought Adele was just a badass and just a great character. It might just be that I'm a sucker for beautiful brunettes with attitude. But I thought she was great. She was supposed to be like the bitch character, but she was like the last sane person. She was like, don't you know, like she was like noticing that everything was just going going wrong, and it was really great. It was a very, very good, very strong narrative, very nice build-up. I absolutely loved the Devil's music. So moving on, then we had movies you can't find on Amazon Prime are Bordello Death Tales, which is an anthology piece. And Bordello Death Tales was fun. I love horror anthologies. You did Vice Day at the end, which once again stars Cy Hentley. And Danielle Laws is back, the gorgeous Danielle Laws, this time as who played Helly in Killer Killer, but is now as Destiny. Very good chemistry between the two of them. I noticed you guys, like, a similar monster that I'm noticing, like, kind of in recurring these movies is, like, astral projection. Like, later on in Angry Nazi Zombies, we've got, like, a Nazi soldier who's astrally projecting a monster that's killing people. I'm noticing a lot of astral projection stuff, but the astral projection bad guy in that segment was really, really cool. Stitch Girl was kind of silly, but I think that was the point. Again, a little more horror comedy. And Eleanor James is great as the Stitch Girl herself. She's got those great, like, Bride of Frankenstein crazy eyes, just, like, unnerved by everything. It's a really, and of course we got the gore in the first segment, who I'm actually spacing on the name right now. But yeah, just, Bordello Death Tales was excellent. Also of note, another regular actor of yours I really like is Natalie Milner, who was Claudia in Hellbride. I love her as the Raven character. She comes back as the Raven character in Angry Nazi Zombies. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I think there should be a third Death Tales. There should definitely be a third Death Tales. And I'm looking forward to more of the Raven character coming out. So, I think, like, probably one of my personal favorites, though, was Strippers versus Werewolves. You had, what kind of surprised me, I didn't expect that you actually had Robert Englund in the movie, and then it's like, sure enough, Robert Englund's there. It's like, holy crap, you got Freddy Krueger as, like, the master werewolf, and that was pretty awesome. But yeah, of course, Robert Englund was in Zombie Strippers, which I still haven't seen yet. But I'm a huge fan of Charles Band and a lot, like the Puppet Master movies and like Demonic Toys and stuff like that. And Charles Band did Zombies versus Strippers, which is, I feel like, kind of like a knockbuster version of Zombie Strippers. I adore that movie, so it's like anything in the Strippers versus series, I'm down for. Great, just like hot chicks versus werewolves. Very strong narrative. Just like it's neat to see this kind of mounting war build up between these two factions. I was very happy to see some vampire babes in there. I'm also my channel has a lot of role-playing content, and in particular, I'm a big fan of the World of Darkness role-playing games like Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse. So anything that reminds me of World of Darkness is doing something right. So it was, and again, it was just all very tongue-in-cheek, but there was some good action, good gore. My only complaint, and again, this is kind of like a budgetary limitation, is that, like, I prefer werewolves. Whenever I see a werewolf, I'd love to see, if at all possible, is the big hulking half-human werewolf that's like a big, like either an animatronic creature or maybe a special effect, something like, American Werewolf in London, whatnot. So, but of course, that's not easy to do, and we can't always have access to that. So what you guys went for was more just kind of traditional, kind of like vampire gear, but kind of like a more modern take on the classic Wolfman type look, but basically with it felt like vampire makeup, but it was a wolf, and it was really, really good. It was nice. They had a great transformation. They were very bestial and feral. It was like, yeah, they made it work, and it was nice and intimidating. And then finally we have Angry Nazi Zombies, which is the last thing I checked out. So again, another anthology movie, but we're going World War II this time, and we, very good, very good. I really liked the first segment, which wasn't yours, but it was, I liked this one. It was, I like the idea. Once again, we had Natalie Milner as the Raven character. I don't know who knows if it's the same one. I suspect, this is just me fan theorizing, that like the Raven might be a vampire. It's just, I don't know, I'm a whore for vampires, so it's like, what's she doing? What's she doing in World War II? It may not be the same character, but the story of that one soldier was very well crafted. We got our zombies. We got Shiva, like a she-wolf of the SS character, and like some kind of crazy like Nazi robot thing. Cy Hentley was great as this kind of bumbling inspector in the second storyline, where we had a paranormal investigator and another psychic projection Nazi character. And then finally, we had your story, which had demons. Little fun, little plastic demons, little puppet demons. And once again, we have Jess Louisa Flynn, which I was so happy to see. I think she's remarkable. It was great to see her as this punk rocker lady, and now we see her as a still no bullshit lady, just in World War II England, dealing with the bombings and dealing with her grumpy grandpa, and having to deal with demons at the same time. So yeah, all these movies were fun. They're all great. Anybody listening to this, go to Amazon Prime right now. Check out Killer Killer. Check out Trash House. Check out Kill Bride. Check out The Devil's Music. Track down Strippers vs. Werewolves. Angry Nazi Zombies. The House on the Witchpit, which I still need to see. And Bordello Death Tales. Check out Jinx Media. I'm going to have a link in the description. You can check out his website. Have a great time. Pat, again, thanks for reaching out to me. Your movies are awesome, and I'm looking forward for whatever you got next. If you can tell me where I could track down like the House on the Witchpit, like on DVD or something like that, I'd really appreciate that. I actually just got a new copy of Killer Killer on DVD. I originally had it on the I still got it on my like the Echo Bridge box set of horror movies I've got, but like the section of Killer Killer is damaged, and so like when the two murderers are having when the two murderers that kill cheerleaders is coming up, and they're about to like have their little encounter with Helly, it starts glitching out at that point. So I'm like, so it's one of those things where I got to maintain the stuff. So I just got Killer Killer on DVD. So if you can tell me where to track down The House on the Witchpit, I'd love to hear it. Happy to pick that up from you too and check it out. If you want more in-depth reviews, let me know. One more thing before I take off. Again, just shout out to your regulars. Cy Hentley, Richard Collins, you guys are amazing. I think you guys are insanely talented. Keep using these guys and everything. They're freaking great. Richard Collins does, whether he's playing a normal character or a gibbering psychopath, he's great. Cy Hentley is a remarkable straight man, but can do comedy as well. James Cavaz was excellent. I only saw him in 2 roles, and may he rest in peace. But he was a treasure. It was a pleasure to learn of him through your films. I've only seen him in 1 movie of yours, but Dutch Diore Boise. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry, sir, if I'm not. Dude, you're great in Killer Killer. I didn't know what to call you, so I referred to you as Jason Statham guy. I mean that as a compliment. It's like you were like the Bagman was a great hero for Killer Killer, and it was like you were funny, you were badass. I felt for your character. I felt for you and Cy's character in that movie. You guys are great. Daniel Laws is awesome as Helly, awesome and badass as Helly, awesome and badass as Destiny, stunningly beautiful. And I saw she had a brief segment in Hellbride too, where she's fighting an octopus. She's great. Natalie Milner, loved her as Claudia in Hellbride, and it was great to see her as Lady Raven. Eleanor James, just wonderful scary actress. She's lovely, but it's just you do great monster work. I loved you as the Hellbride. I loved you as Stitch Girl. Rebecca Harrod is great female lead in Hellbride, and Jess Louisa Flynn, you're amazing. You're awesome. You're a badass. This whole movie night was great to just see you going out fighting demons. It was awesome. So again, Pat Higgins, thank you so much. Keep rocking, keep making awesome horror out there, man. Everybody at Jinx Media, you do great work. Everybody who sees this, go check out Jinx Media. Link in the description. This is the Dread Pirate signing off. I gotta go study. Catch y'all later.